Child, we have some tea to talk about and to spill. Jada, Will, and August. What is the tea? What's going on here? Let's clear out the charts and get ready for Jada and Will in August. So let's talk about it real quick. Apparently, I found out some tea this morning that Jada is allegedly having an affair with August Alsina. And Will lay down the law, y'all. So let's get into the tea and see what is the compatibility between Jada and Will and Jada and August, okay? By the way, if you want a personal reading from me, whether you want a personal astrology birth chart reading or a psychic tarot reading, check out my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. We're going to go there through my YouTube channel, actually. This is my YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe as well. And if you want a reading, go directly to my website, LamarrTownsendTarot.com. And you can go to the store section here. It'll take you directly to the store section where you can purchase your reading. Or you can go to the personal birth chart reading section where you can purchase a birth chart reading just like what I'm about to do for Will and Jada. And you can also purchase a psychic tarot reading. I do read cards as well, so if you're interested, check out my website. So, child, let's get into the tea. And let's first look into the compatibility between Will and Jada. So Jada is going to be here in the center because she's the center of all this drama, honey. So we need to put Jada exactly where she belongs. Look. I want to make sure I spell her name correctly. Interesting story about Jada and Will Smith, actually. So back in the 90s, 1990, this had to be 1999, 1998, and I'm sure Jada won't remember this. She was born, September 18th, 1971. So back in the 90s, and it's like I said, this had to be like 1998, 1999, no later than that, no earlier than that. And we were at Disneyland. Me and my family were at Disneyland. So since we don't know, by the way, the time that Jada was born, we're going to do a noon chart for her, which means for her moon sign and her Mercury sign and maybe a couple other signs, we're going to have to do a transit just to see exactly where it's placed. But we'll cross that bridge when we get here. I didn't know Jada was born in Baltimore. Okay, Jada. I have family out there. Okay, so let me finish my story. So back in the 90s, I was at Disneyland with my family. And this was when Men in Black came out. And I guess, I don't know if this was like Men in Black 2 or something like that. Or, I don't know, but I think Will and Jada and the family were at like Disneyland promoting the film. Because it had just come out. And we're going to do Will now, speaking of Will. And me and my family, and by the way, I had to be at least like 6 or 7, I don't know, maybe like 8 at the oldest. But I'm pretty sure I was like 6 or 7, around that age. And me and my family decided to go to the Dr. Seuss section of Disneyland. I don't know if they still have this. Like I said, obviously I have not been to Disneyland in so long, y'all. So I don't know, and I think this may have even been Disney World, not Disneyland. But yeah, so we went to the Dr. Seuss section, and lo and behold, guess who was also there? If you guessed Jada Pinkett Smith, you are correct. Jada was there with her 2 sons. And I think, and it was interesting because we rode the same ride as her son. So I think it may have been Jaden and the oldest one. I don't know who the oldest one is. They're both born in September. That's interesting, and not too far apart from each other. Okay. So I ended up riding the Dumbo ride, I think, with Jaden and the oldest one. I don't know the oldest one's name, the oldest Smith brother. And my mom, or not my mom, my grandma actually ended up meeting Jada because obviously Jada was waiting, on the sidelines for her kids to get off the ride. And I just remember we had to stay on the ride for at least 10 minutes. And I remember thinking, what the heck? Why are we still on this ride? And I guess it was because Jada was there, literally 10 feet away. And Jaden and the oldest brother were on the same ride as us, and we're all kids, so we're just kind of just sitting there like la di da di da, having no idea what's going on. But my grandparents actually ended up getting a picture of Jada, and I think they still have it. But I didn't get to meet her, but my family did, and yeah, that's my story. I rode the same ride in Disney World as Jaden and their oldest brother. So it looks like Will Smith was born in Philadelphia, actually. In West Philadelphia, born and raised. Chilling out, maxing, relaxing, not cooling out, shooting some people outside of school. When a couple of guys, they were up to no good. Started making trouble in the neighborhood. I have not literally watched that show in years, y'all. Alright, let me get focused and serious. Jeez. I'm looking for Philadelphia. This is way too extra. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, so I'm just gonna have to scroll down quite a bit for this to show up for Philadelphia because there's just so many locations on here. By the way, the software I'm using is Astrologer XP. It is available on the Mac store. It's very cheap. That's the reason why I got it in the first place. Philly, Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, Jordan, no, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Okay, so now we have Will's chart pulled up as well. So now we have both of their charts pulled up, interestingly enough. So let's get into the tea and see the compatibility basically between Will and Jada. So right off the bat, they both have Sun in Virgo. Or actually, no, Will's the Sun in Libra. I'm sorry. It's interesting because they're born a couple days apart, different years, but same month. So nonetheless, Jada's a Virgo and Will is a Libra. So with Jada being a Sun in Virgo, the Sun rules how we express ourselves, rules our creativity. It does rule how we deal with romance and romantic flings and things like that as well. So we'll get to that in a second with August. But the Sun also rules creativity and children and romance and family and that kind of energy. So it makes sense as to why Jada is so dedicated to, maintaining her relationship with Will and keeping things the way they are. I would venture to say that Jada has a lot of structure around this relationship in her life. Like a lot of her life is built around, I feel like, her relationship with Will. Virgos are very structured people. They like structure. They like planning. They like, to know when things are going to happen. They like a little bit of predictability in their life, right? So I would venture to say that there's something with Jada where she's obviously gotten very used to this relationship, very accustomed to this relationship. And it's interesting, I'm looking at their aspects. I don't see any squares, and I don't see any oppositions either. So that's interesting. Oh, no, I see one opposition here with Chiron, and it looks like Venus. Ooh, interesting. All right. But with Jada, like I said, she's just very all about structure and maintaining order, all right? And also about improving herself and always, kind of keeping up. Like, I feel like Jada has this thing maybe where she likes to keep up with the youth or keep up with what's, trending in the world. Like, she doesn't want to be forgotten. So that's very interesting. Definitely a hard worker. Now, Will's the Sun in Libra. So Will, is very charming. Libras tend to be very charming. Libras ruled by Venus, so Venus rules romance, friendship, harmony. By the way, Virgo's ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules communication, intellect, the mind, which makes sense as to, for example, why she has this red table talk thing. This is where, this is a platform for her to speak her mind, to express her thoughts, and to also communicate, with the public and with, other people and, learn, and grow and evolve. So this is just, so much up her alley. I love that. Now, Will's a Sun in Libra. So, Libra, Venus it rules romance, it rules friendship, it rules harmony, but Venus also rules money, how we make our money and how we spend our money, right? Also rules what we like to do in our free time. I feel like there's something where first of all, the compatibility with these two sun signs isn't bad, but I would say that maybe there's a codependent element in this relationship, and now it's reached a point where it's becoming a little bit toxic, this codependency, and it's no longer as viable as it once was. For example, Sun in Libra Will, may have, especially early on in the relationship, may have like brought Jada everywhere. Like, it may have done everything together. But now that they've been together for a long time, it may be this kind of thing where there's a need to separate, each other's lives and untangle a few things. I especially feel this with Will. Like, I feel like, and I don't know why I'm just sensing this energy, could just be picking up energetically what's going on, but I feel like Will kind of has this thing where he wants things to be untangled. He wants his life to be his life and hers to be hers. And it makes sense because this is kind of how their relationship has progressed. They talk so much, or we hear rumors, allegedly about, them having like an open relationship and, oh, he does his thing and I do my thing. And this makes a lot of sense. I would venture to say that, this is due to maybe spending so much time doing everything together at the beginning of their relationship. Right? Because remember, the sun also rules romantic flings in the first stages of a relationship. So, very, very interesting. Not bad compatibility. Libra is an air sign. Virgo is an earth sign, although Virgo can come off as airy due to that Mercury energy. Virgo definitely needs more stability. Virgo, Jada in this sense needs stability. She needs consistency. She needs reliability in her relationship, in context to, her man. Now, the thing with Libra, Sun in Libra, Will, is that, he may not be the most consistent. He can also be a little bit indecisive, which may frustrate Jada in certain instances. And sometimes, Will may have this kind of thing where he needs to escape, or he'd rather spend time with his friends or his career, or, doing something else rather than actually spending time with Jada. Libras also have this thing, and Virgos a little bit too, where they don't like confrontation necessarily. So they like to avoid it at all costs. And I feel like Will may have this thing where he likes to avoid confrontation by running away or escaping. This is just, based off what I'm getting from their sun signs. We haven't even gotten into their moon signs or anything like that. Speaking of moon signs, let's do a transit really quickly and see where their moon signs are. Let's start with Jada because, she is the center of this all. So let's go a couple hours ahead. First of all, let's look at where the moon was at 12 p.m. noon on the day she was born. Looks like the moon was in Virgo. Ooh, Jada, if you are a sun and moon in Virgo, ooh, it's not bad, but we'll get into that. All right, so let's see. Moon's still in Virgo, 6 hours ahead. Moon is in Scorpio by 12 a.m. the next day. Okay, so let's look at 11 p.m. the day that Jada was born, the 18th, and see if the moon changes. She was born on the 18th, right? Okay, yeah. Moon is in Scorpio at 11 p.m. Let's do 10 p.m. the same day. Moon's in Scorpio, 9 p.m. I'm trying to see where the moon shifts. At what time did the moon shift the day she was born from Virgo to Scorpio? So we can get kind of a cutoff time. Moon in Virgo at 6 p.m. Moon in Virgo at 7 p.m. Have I been looking at Will's chart this whole time? Moon in Virgo. Okay. Yeah, I've been looking at Will's this whole time. My bad. It gets kind of confusing. Okay, so Jada's moon might be in Virgo, actually. Makes a lot of sense. Alright, so Jada's moon is actually in Virgo. My bad, false alarm. I accidentally got confused with her in Will's charts. So I think Jada's moon is in Virgo. Let's just do a quick transit once again. Yeah, so Jada's moon is in Virgo. So Jada is actually a double moon, double sun and moon in Virgo, which tells me that okay, so the moon deals with how we express our emotions. It deals with how our emotional instincts, our emotional reactions, also relates to the relationships of the mother and the family. So once again, this tells me that, Jada has a lot of structure around her family. Her family is very important to her. Um, and if Jada, I feel like if Jada were to like lose her family in some sense, and in this way, like when I say lose, I mean like if her and Will were, God forbid, to get divorced, I feel like she's afraid of that. She's afraid of what would happen to her family, as out of the box as it may be right now. Like this, it's still structured, it's still comfortable to her, right, in some sense. So she's afraid of losing that, I think, especially with her double sun and moon in Virgo here. Now, when it comes to expressing her emotions, she may have a tendency to kind of keep things bottled in, and she may have outbursts sometimes. And she may have her outbursts may come more so in the sense of her being very critical, being very judgmental in some sense, like holding things in, and then they come out at like the worst moments. So now Will's moon, I think, is actually in Scorpio, so we will do a transit for him just to double check that that is accurate. Moon's still in Scorpio. If his moon's in Scorpio, OMG, that's a lot. That makes a lot of sense if his moon's in Scorpio. Libra Sun, moon in Scorpio. Yeah, so Will is a Libra Sun, moon in Scorpio. Very, very sensitive person. Extremely sensitive, Will is. I think he has a good way of kind of not showing it, though. I think Will also has this thing, interestingly enough, where he needs to fit in. All right, so he has this thing where he likes to fit in. Um, with his moon in Scorpio, Will may, and I hate to say this, Will may also have a tendency to step outside of the marriage too, and allegedly, all right, with his moon in Scorpio, especially when it comes to his emotional needs being fulfilled. May be hard with, Jada having that moon in Virgo. She may sometimes struggle a bit with affection and being vulnerable, right? That moon in Earth sign, it can be a real hindrance to vulnerability. But having moon in Scorpio makes one extra vulnerable and maybe not necessarily afraid to show that vulnerability, right? Now, interestingly enough, moon in Scorpio can also make Will possessive a bit in relationships and controlling, all right? So that's also interesting as well. But in this sense, like Will may not want to relieve the relationship for whatever reason, and he may stay in one, but once again may do his thing outside the relationship, may do his thing, outside the home, whatever the situation is. So in a way, I think these placements can create a little bit of toxicity in the sense that I think some things get swept under the rug in this relationship between Will and Jada. And I think what gets swept under the rug ends up festering. And the longer it, goes being, not addressed, I think the more it creates problems. And we get, situations like, maybe, Jada having a rendezvous with August Alsina and it being exposed, right? Because Moon and Scorpio is all about secrets too, so what, Will, it's not hard for Will to find out something, right? Like Will kind of has his ears and eyes all over the place, so it's hard to keep something away from Will. But I would say with that Moon and Scorpio, Sun and Scorpio with Jada, it's the same thing with Jada, right? Like I think Jada may be the Snoopy type, Will may be the sneaky type, all right? Okay, so really quickly, let's look at their Venus signs. Let's look at Jada's Venus. Looks like her Venus, interestingly enough, is in Libra, and if her Venus is in fact in Libra, that makes a lot of sense as to why she would be attracted to Will and his Libra energy. Venus is still in Libra at 6 p.m. Venus is still in Libra the next day at 12 a.m. So let's go 6 hours behind to 6 a.m. to see if Venus is still in Libra. Venus is still in Libra. Venus is still in Libra. So Jada's Venus is in Libra, which makes sense as to why Jada was initially attracted to Will. Jada in relationships needs someone who's charming, needs someone who's kind of like maybe a pretty boy, all right? She may be attracted to pretty boys, definitely. She may be attracted to men who put a lot of emphasis on how they look, they care about how they look, they care about how they, appear and, present themselves, and how, people see them. She may like that kind of energy. But there's something with Jada where she likes not necessarily playboys. Libras can sometimes be playboys. Don't get it twisted, but people who have some sense of charisma about them. Once again, men who are people. I don't know. I'm keeping it open here. People who other people want. Other people are attracted to them. Oh, getting with this person is kind of like related to social status, or it's like a glow up. Getting with this person, like, ooh, getting with this person will make me look this kind of way, or so Venus and Libra can be attracted to that energy. Venus and Libra can also be hopeless romantics too. Okay. Libra once again is an earth sign, or it's air sign, I'm sorry, ruled by Venus, right? So we have that double Venus energy where I think Jada just truly wants to be loved, all right? And she wants to be loved in the most idealistic, like, Disney-esque sense where, she's the princess or the queen and she has her king or prince by her side. That's, I think, what Jada secretly, desires. And I'm not sure if she necessarily got that in its fullest extent in her relationship with Will. Let's see what his Venus is in. Oh, it looks like Will's Venus may be in Libra too. Let's see. Venus still in Libra. Venus still in Libra. Venus still in Libra. So they're actually both Venus and Libra. So their Venuses are conjunct, and that can be a good thing. This tells me that they both kind of express love the same way and desire and require love to be expressed to them in the same way. But I think that Sun and Moon combination, that Sun and Moon compatibility, may sometimes cloud or mar this Venus compatibility that they have. Or should I say Sun and Moon incompatibility, all right, a little bit. But the Venus is very compatible here, so I think the Venus is what initially brought these two together. I think there's something about this relationship when they first got together, and where there was a lot of excitement, there was a lot of fanfare around it, and I think Jada and probably Will too, because they both have Venus and Libra, were swept up in that kind of in that essence, in that aura of them being together and like them being a power couple and we're better together kind of thing. Like that's I think what has attracted to them. But I think that Sun and Moon has caused it to become a little bit toxic, and it's due to things being swept under the rug. Where are their Are they from the same Pluto generation? Both Pluto and Virgo. Okay, so they both they both appreciate commitment. They both grew up in that generation where you stick things out. You don't just divorce, all willy nilly. So it makes sense. This is what they saw growing up. This is what was presented to them, as being acceptable growing up. So that makes sense. So that's the Pluto generation. What was the generation you grew up in, and how are you going to carry on those traditions, or how are you going to change those traditions as you get older? So this makes sense. But I don't know. That Venus compatibility. Having a conjunction can be a blessing and a curse. There's always like a flip side to having a conjunction. Having Venus and Libra with both of them, can just create a situation where instead of saying what you need in the relationship, expressing what you need in the relationship, you go seek it elsewhere. And that creates toxicity. And I think that's what we've seen happen in the public eye. Now, where are their Mercuries? And I think that'll be the last placements that we look at for both of these two. And then we'll move on to the compatibility between Jada and Alsina. So let me just do a quick transit to make sure their Mercuries are still, where they're supposed to be. So it looks like Jada's Mercury is in Virgo, and her Mars is in Aquarius. So with Jada's Mars in Aquarius, excuse me, she has a very unique way of expressing herself. Um, With her Mercury in Virgo, once again, she may have a tendency to bottle things in. And I also get the sense where Jada may have a tendency to blame herself for a lot of her problems or a lot of situations that go on in her life. Like I said, that Virgo energy, she has that strong Virgo energy, very self critical, very self judgmental, that kind of thing. She can also have this thing where she compares herself to other people, her relationships to other people's and that kind of thing. So she may have this thing where she likes to keep up with the Joneses, and once again keep up with what's going on in the world. She doesn't like to be seen as irrelevant or something like that, right? Mars and Aquarius can definitely see Jada being unpredictable, right? We never know what she's going to do next. She may never know what she's going to do next, right? That's that Mars and Aquarius energy, and this is kind of, I feel like, related to this August Alsina, situation. I'm wondering if August Alsina has Aquarius energy in his chart, because I feel like if he does, that's probably what Jada was attracted to in him. Very, very experimental when it comes to her sexuality, as well. Jada is. Now it looks like Will's Mercury may be in Libra and his Mars may be in Virgo. I'm just doing a quick transit just to verify that that is true. Mercury in Libra, Mars in Virgo. So Will's a Mercury in Libra, Mars in Virgo. Once again, he may be the type of person who is very particular about confrontation and keeping things private. He's very particular about how he approaches things and how he deals with things. Will is, which I think may frustrate Jada with her Mars and Virgo, because she's just unpredictable. She's just like, I want to talk about it now, and Will may be the type of person where it's like, well, I don't want to talk about it now. So, especially with that Mercury in Libra, he has to be in the mood, in the right, the right headspace to, talk about a serious situation. Once again, which can create a moment of something being swept under the rug, not being addressed. So I think that's the biggest issue in this relationship, is things being swept under the rug. Now let's quickly look at the compatibility between Jada and August Alsina. What initially attracted these two together? I want to know. So let's put in August's birthday. It's interesting that they were all born in September. Did you guys notice that? Alright, I will. August was born September 3rd, 1992. Where was he born? In New Orleans. Okay. Looks like he was born in New Orleans. Here it says. Let's go on Wikipedia and double check. August was born in New Orleans, Louisiana. Okay, perfect. Yes. So we already know Jada's chart, so we don't really need to look into her chart too much since we know her placements, both Virgos. So they both have an understanding of each other. They're both Sun and Virgo, so their suns are conjunct. They have a similar way of expressing themselves. They also have a similar way of being, of being and expressing themselves in romantic relationships and romantic flings. So this makes sense. Immediately they already have, a better compatibility than her and Will, all right? But with their suns being conjunct. In the same sense, this tells me that they can easily get swept up once again in that kind of love energy and that kind of connection, I guess. All right. So we know Jada's a moon in Virgo. Let's do a transit really quickly and see where August's moon is. So it looks like at 12 noon, the time he was born, or no, that's 12 a.m. I'm sorry. Let's do 12 noon. The moon was in Sagittarius at the time he was born, September 3rd, 1992. Let's go 6 hours ahead to 6 p.m. Moon's still in Sag. Moon's still in Sag. Moon in Sag. So August is moon in Sagittarius. And Jada's moon in Virgo. Moon in Sagittarius is very expressive. has a tendency to not hold back. All right. They can have a very unique way of dealing with their emotions. Sometimes it can be a bit toxic. All right, so it makes sense. I remember hearing something about how initially, Will and Jada brought August in because he was having troubles, in his personal life. So that can be that moon in Sagittarius. Sometimes moon in Sagittarius people need to be reined in. They need balance in their life. They need stability. They need groundedness, a lot of the times. Especially with that moon, and being in that strong fire sign of Jupiter. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, so Jupiter rules taboo, right? So initially, this can already set the stage for an affair. Um, Jupiter also rules long distance travel. It rules expansion, our sense of adventure and exploration. It rules higher learning, higher education, our personal philosophies and belief systems, right? So it could be that also and Jada was attracted to August's vibe with this moon in Sagittarius energy, right? Especially with I think Will's moon was in Scorpio, right? So I think in some sense maybe August is a little bit easier to handle emotionally for Jada than maybe at times Will can be, right? Both can be a little bit emotionally chaotic, both Will and August, I think, moon in Sag, moon in Scorpio, but I think maybe with Jada and August, August is a little bit more easier to tame with Jada in August, if that makes sense. Because keep in mind, Jada's moon in Virgo, so she wants stability. She wants, once again, reliability at all times. Is she going to get that in totality with August? Maybe not with his moon in Sagittarius, right? He can be a little bit all over the place, here today, gone tomorrow. But I think it's also that excites Jada as well, right? Let's go to his Venus. Venus in Libra. Oh, Lord. All this Venus in Libra energy, honey. Is August a Venus in Libra? And a Mercury in Virgo? Mercury in Virgo. Let's just do a couple transits. Alright, so let's look at the Mercury. Mercury in Virgo. Venus in Libra. And Mars. Where's that Mars? Mars in Gemini. Don't see any Aquarius energy. But that Mars in Gemini says a lot about August. A very unpredictable guy. He can also be a little bit of a person who, has a tendency to step outside of a relationship, allegedly, with that Mars and Gemini, especially if his needs are not getting met. Venus and Libra, they both have that Venus and Libra conjunction, all right? So that's also, once again, remember I was saying, Jada's attracted to that Libra energy of that charm and that pretty boy swag, and that's that Venus and Libra that, August has. His Mercury is in, actually, Leo? Interesting. Okay. Mercury in Leo. Mercury in Virgo at 6 a.m. though. So I don't know. It depends on when August was born. He may either be a Mercury in Leo or he could be a Mercury in Virgo. If he's a Mercury in Leo, Jada may have also been attracted to that as well. Mercury in Leo people tend to be very commanding when they speak. I can actually see him being a Mercury in Virgo over a Mercury in Leo, but that Mercury in Leo can relate to his music as well, and that creativity in his music. But that Mercury in Virgo can also relate to him struggling a little bit with that music once again, expressing himself, and his ideas translating to his music in the page, and that kind of thing. So I would venture to say, August, if you're not necessarily in the right mental space, whether you're struggling with depression or substance abuse or whatever, your music will be affected. I think your creativity will be affected, especially if you have Mercury in Virgo. All right. But I think also Jada may have been attracted to that kind of, you know, sense of you needing help, you needing, a nurturing, you needing, she could help you. I think she likes that kind of vibe as well, where she likes to help men, and help them kind of, prosper and succeed and build them up as well. And that Mars in Gemini says a lot, all right? You can be very unpredictable yourself. I think that Mars is an issue what attracted you all to each other when it came to this affair. And I think, it may have started, on a whim. I don't think necessarily maybe it started off as, or maybe it did, but I think the initial first meeting, the initial first hooking up probably was a very unpredictable, like not planned thing, all right? Um, but it was that kind of same energy of, us, it being unplanned, you know, that made it exciting. All right, so very, very interesting. And you both come from different generations as well. August, you come from the Pluto and Scorpio generation where ultimately, you're going to want something else. You're going to want to grow and evolve. You're more into your spirituality and more into healing and growing and, working through your pain. So this makes sense. I think a lot of you, that a little bit of depression vibe and pessimistic vibe that comes in your music comes from this Pluto and Scorpio. You're a deep feeler. You feel the energy of like what's going on in the world, and I think you just need to work a bit more on how you express and translate the energy you feel into your art, into your creativity. All right, and I think Jada initially may have helped you with that, or that may have been the attraction here of what brought you two together, among just the excitement of the affair, it being an affair, and all that. So I can see why Jada chose August to have a little kai kai moment. All right, as RuPaul would say. But is this gonna last? I'm not sure. I think this may just be a fling. This may just be a fling, a flyby moment, but definitely a moment where it's helping Jada to wake up to certain things within her that she needs to realize and come to terms with, as well as August. All right, so definitely a universal, like divine moment of this being exposed, even. But I can see why this happened. All right, I think Jada, there's something you need to face when it comes to your situation with Will. I'm just gonna leave it at that. This is the compatibility between August and Jada, and Will and Jada. Once again, if you would like a reading from me, you can go to my website, lamarrtownsendtarot.com, purchase your reading, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible and get your reading done. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel as well. Hit that bell next to the subscribe button. Obviously, I don't have it on my YouTube channel because I'm signed into my YouTube here, but there's always a button next to the subscribe button. Hit that button, hit that bell next to the subscribe button so you get a notification whenever I go live and upload a brand new video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.